Hello dear students, welcome to the lecture number 5 of unit number 2 of Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetics, and the topic for today's lecture is Bioavailability and Bioequivalence, its definition and objective. So, first of all, what is bioavailability? Okay. See, the therapeutic effectiveness of a drug compound will depend upon the ability of that particular drug to deliver will depend upon the ability of that particular dosage form to deliver its content or to deliver its medicament to the site of action at a rate and the amount that will be sufficient to produce or that will be sufficient to start a pharmacological response. Okay. So, this amount of drug, the amount of the dosage form, that is known as the physiological availability, okay, or we can say it is bioavailability or simply the bioavailability or biological availability. So, what is bioavailability? It is the rate and extent to which a active drug ingredient or a therapeutic moiety is absorbed from a drug product, and it will become available at the site of drug action. Okay. What is bioavailability? It is the rate and the extent or the rate and amount of the drug or active drug product or therapeutic moiety that is reaching the systemic circulation after getting released from the drug product, and it is called as the bioavailability, okay, and it can be represented by the letter F. Okay. Now, next term is the bioequivalence requirement. What do you mean by bioequivalence requirement? These are the requirements that have been imposed by the FDA, that is for the in vitro and in vivo testing of specific drug products, which must satisfied as a condition for marketing. Means before marketing the drug product, they should satisfy the standards or the specification that have been prescribed by the FDA by certain in vitro and in vivo testing. Okay. Now, next term is the bioequivalent drug product. Now, what is bioequivalent drug product? This bioequivalent drug product terms describes certain pharmaceutical equivalent or pharmaceutical alternative products that can display the comparable bioavailability when studied under the similar experimental conditions. Okay. Next is the brand name. What do you mean by the brand name? This is the trade name of the drug. For example, or we can say this is the name that is privately owned by a manufacturer or the distributor, and it is used to distinguish the specific drug product from the competitor's product. Okay, for example, Crocin, Saridone, these are the brand names, or we can say Tylenol. This is a brand name that is of McNeil Laboratories. Okay. Now, next is the chemical name. What do you mean by chemical name? It is the name used by the organic chemist to indicate the chemical structure of the drug, or we can say the name from which the details about the chemical structure of the drug can be revealed, then it is called as the chemical name. For example, N-acetyl para-aminophenol. This is a chemical name. Next is the drug product. What do you mean by drug product? The drug product, we can say these are the finished dosage form that can be tablet, that can be capsule, or that can be solution. Okay. So, these contain the active drug ingredient. Okay. The finished dosage form that contains the active drug ingredient generally, but not necessarily in association with inactive ingredients. Means a drug product or a dosage form is having an API plus an inactive ingredient, or it can solely having the active drug ingredient, that is called as the drug product. Next is the drug product selection. Now, what do you mean by drug product selection? It is the process of choosing or selecting the drug product in a specified dosage form. Okay. Next term is the drug substance. What do you mean by drug substance? Drug substance is the API, that is the active pharmaceutical ingredient or the component in the drug product that provides sufficient pharmacodynamic activity or that will provide the therapeutic effectiveness. Okay. Next is the generic name. What do you mean by generic name? It is the established non-proprietary or common name of the active drug in a drug product. For example, acetaminophen, it is a generic name. Next is the generic substitution. What do you mean by generic substitution? It is a process of dispensing a different brand or an unbranded drug product in place of a prescribed drug product. Okay, that is called as the generic substitution. Now, next is the pharmaceutical alternative. The drug product that contain the same therapeutic moiety but different salt, ester or complexes, means the main active ingredient is similar, the main API is similar, okay, active ingredient or API is similar, but its salt can be different, it can be ester form or it can be another complex, okay, that is called as the pharmaceutical alternative. Okay. Next is the pharmaceutical equivalent, means the drug product in identical dosage form that contains the same active ingredient, that is the same salt, same ester, but of same dosage form and same route of administration and identical in the strength concentration. Okay, this is called as the pharmaceutical equivalent. Next term is the pharmaceutical substitutions. Now, what is pharmaceutical substitution? It is a process of dispensing a pharmaceutical alternative for the prescribed drug product. Okay, means whatever doctor has prescribed, another pharmaceutical alternative is dispensed in place of the prescribed drug product, then it will be called as the pharmaceutical substitution. Next is the therapeutic alternative, means the drug product containing different active ingredient that are indicated for the same therapeutic objective. Okay, means API is different, but its indication was same or objective was same, then it is called as the therapeutic alternative. Okay, these are some definitions that are related to the bioavailability and bioequivalence. Okay. So, as I have told you that for a therapeutic effectiveness of a dosage form, it should deliver the medicament at the site of action in a proper manner, at a right time, okay, at the same rate and the extent, so that it can produce its pharmacological effect. Okay. So, the amount or the concentration that is reaching into the systemic circulation is called as the bioavailability, or we can say it is the biological availability, okay, or physiological availability, that we can express by the letter F. Okay. So, the rate or the rapidity with which a drug is getting absorbed is very important when a rapid onset of action is required. Okay. And if we want to prolong the action of a drug, then we must want to deliver the drug at a slow rate. Okay. If there are acute cases, critical conditions, for example, asthma attack, then we want to deliver the drug at a rapid rate. In that cases, the rapid onset of action is required. So, the rate and extent also matters in case of certain conditions. Okay. And if the size of the dose that is administered is the same, then also the bioavailability of the drug can differ. Okay. We can have three different types of factor on which the bioavailability depend. First factor is the pharmaceutical factor. These pharmaceutical factors are related to the physicochemical properties of the drug as well as the characteristics of the dosage form. Second is the patient related factors, and third one is the route of administration. Okay. So, first two factors, that is the pharmaceutical factor and the patient related factors, these we have already discussed in the drug absorption and absorption chapters. Okay. and the influence of route of administration on the drug bioavailability is also there. So, depending on the route of administration, we can achieve different rates of bioavailability. For example, if we go for parenteral administration, oral, rectal or topical, we will get 100% bioavailability in case of parenteral. Why? Because in case of parenteral administration, in parenteral especially in IV cases, because the drug is getting absorbed into the systemic circulation, drug is directly entering into the systemic circulation. So, the drug is 100% bioavailable, drug is 100% available. So, we can say the bioavailability is 100% in case of IV, intravenous route of administration. Okay. If we talk about the oral route of administration, although we prefer the oral route of administration because of its stability and the convenience, but in case of oral route of administration we never get 100% bioavailability. Why? Because in case of oral route of administration, some part of drug can get metabolized, some part of drug can get excreted out, it will never get 100% entered into the blood circulation. Okay. So, the drug or the dose that is available for the patient is always less than the drug that is administered. Okay. So, the drug that is available to the patient, we can say it is as the bioavailable dose. Okay. So, there is a term that is called as the bioavailable fraction, and we can calculate this bioavailable fraction by bioavailable dose to the administered dose. We can have a formula for the bioavailable fraction. We can represent this bioavailable fraction by letter F, and the value of F will be equal to the bioavailable dose upon administered dose. Okay. So, the ratio of bioavailable dose to the administered dose will give you the bioavailable fraction. Okay. Some another definitions are also there. Therapeutic substitution. What do you mean by therapeutic substitution? It is the process of dispensing a therapeutic alternative for the prescribed drug product. Whenever a doctor prescribes a drug product and it in case it is not available, then pharmacist can describe a therapeutic alternative. Okay, means the drug product that is having the same therapeutic indication, that is called as the therapeutic substitution. Next is the therapeutic equivalent. What do you mean by therapeutic equivalent? In this, the drug products are considered to be therapeutic equivalents only if they are pharmaceutical equivalents, and if they can be expected to have the same clinical effect or same biological and safety profile when administered to the patient, then only it can be called as the therapeutic equivalence. Okay. So, these were the some definitions that are related to the bioavailability. And now, next part is what are the different objectives of this bioavailability study? What are the purpose of conduction of these bioavailability study? Okay. So, the bioavailability studies are important in the primary stages of development of a suitable dosage form. Whenever we are going for the formulation of new formulation or the development of a new dosage form for a new drug entity, then we have to conduct these bioavailability studies, so that we can get evidence about their therapeutic utility. Okay. So, the bioavailability studies are required in the primary stages of development of the suitable dosage form of a new drug compound to obtain the evidence or to obtain the assurance regarding their therapeutic utility. Next is the development of the new formulation of the existing drug. If we are having a drug and for that we want to develop a new formulation, then also there is a need of bioavailability study. Okay. Third objective is control of quality of a drug product during the early stage of marketing in order to determine the influence of processing factors, storage and stability on the drug absorption. Okay. When we want to control the quality of a drug product at the early stage of the marketing, so that we can get the impact of process factors, impact of storage, impact of stability studies on the drug absorption, then there is a need of conduction of bioavailability study. The another factor or another objective is comparison of availability of a drug substance from different dosage form or the same from produced by the different manufacturer. When we want to compare the availability of the drug substance or absorption of drug substances from the different dosage form, or we can say we are comparing the bioavailability of a particular drug from the tablet dosage form as well as from the parenteral dosage form, then there is a need of bioavailability study. Or we want to compare the same dosage form produced by the different manufacturer, okay, then there is also a need of bioavailability study. Okay. Next is the determination of the influence of excipients or patient related factors and possible interaction with other drugs on efficiency of absorption. The another objective is the determination of influence of excipients, means there are lot of excipients that can be used into the dosage form, and a particular excipient provides certain characteristics or certain properties to the dosage form. So, if we want to determine the effect of that excipients, then there is a need of bioavailability study. Okay. If we want to calculate or if we want to analyze the impact of patient related factors or impact of certain drug interaction, that can be displacement interaction or allosteric interaction, if we want to study the effect of these type of interaction on the efficiency of the absorption, then there is a need of bioavailability studies. Okay. So, these 5 are the objectives of the behind the conduction of bioavailability studies. Okay. Now, what are the different types of bioavailability? We are having 2 types of bioavailability. First is the absolute bioavailability, second is the relative bioavailability. Now, what is the difference between these 2 types of bioavailability? Okay, relative means comparable. The relative bioavailability is comparative bioavailability, whereas the absolute bioavailability is the total bioavailability, we can say. Okay. So, first is the absolute bioavailability. So, this bioavailability compares the bioavailability of the active drug in the systemic circulation following the non-intravenous administration with the same drug following intravenous administration. Means in this we are comparing the drug that is given by IV route as well as by the oral route. Okay. In this active bioavailability of a active drug or the absorption of the active drug is compared, of same drug is compared when it is given by 2 different routes of administration. For example, by IV route and oral route. Okay. So, for calculation of absolute bioavailability, there is a formula, that is F is equal to area under curve of drug that is given by oral route divided by dose of oral route upon AUC, that is area under curve that is obtained by the IV route upon dose of IV route. Okay. So, this is the formula for the blood data when we want to calculate the bioavailability study from the blood sample. See, for the determination of bioavailability of a particular compound, we are having 2 different methods, from the blood data as well as from the urine data. We can calculate the drug that is absorbed into the body from the by taking the blood sample as well as by taking the urine sample. If we want to calculate through the blood data, then this formula will be used. Okay. And if we are going for urinary excretion data, then this formula will be used. Okay. So, this is about the absolute bioavailability, in which the bioavailability of active drug is is compared by 2 different route of administration. Okay. So, in this absolute bioavailability, we can express it by letter F. Okay. Next is the relative bioavailability. What is relative bioavailability? It is also known as the comparative bioavailability, and in this relative bioavailability we are comparing the bioavailability of a formulation of certain drug and it will be compared with the another formulation, that is B of the same drug. Means we are comparing two different formulations of the same drug. Okay. So, relative bioavailability we can calculate by the area under curve of A formulation divided by area under curve of B formulation. Okay. In this case, the drug product B is a recognized reference standard. Okay, means A formulation is getting compared with the reference standard formulation. Okay. If we are having two different doses of this, then the formula will be area under curve of A formulation divided by dose of A formulation upon area under curve of B formulation divided by dose of B formulation. Okay. So, this is the relative bioavailability, or we can say it is the comparative bioavailability. Okay. In case of absolute bioavailability, we are comparing the same drug by two different route of administration. When the drug is getting absorbed by given by two different routes, and we are comparing the absorption from these two different routes. But in case of relative bioavailability, we are giving two different dosage forms, we can say two different formulation of the same drug. Okay. So, that is called as the relative bioavailability. Okay. So, to get the clear understanding of absolute and relative bioavailability, we are having a practice problem, that is the bioavailability of a new investigational drug was studied in 12 volunteers, and each volunteer received a single oral tablet that containing 200 mg of the drug. Okay. The 5 ml of a pure aqueous solution containing 200 mg of the drug, or a single IV bolus injection containing 50 milligram of the drug. So, periodically the plasma samples were taken up to the 48 hours, and after that the dose and acid for the drug concentration. We are having the values of AUC up to 0 to 48 hours, and we have to calculate the relative bioavailability of the drug from the tablet compared to the oral solution. Okay. First factor that we have to determine is the relative bioavailability of the drug from the tablet compared to the oral solution, and second is the absolute bioavailability of the drug from the tablet. Okay. So, to determine this, what is the formula for relative bioavailability? In the relative bioavailability, we are comparing the two different formulation of the same drug. Means the formula for relative bioavailability is the AUC of A dosage form divided by AUC of B dosage form. Okay. So, we have to calculate the relative bioavailability of this and this. So, what will be the formula? This is A and this is B. Okay. So, how we will calculate the relative bioavailability? Relative bioavailability will be equal to the area under curve of A dosage form, that is the area under curve in case of oral tablet divided by area under curve in case of oral solution. Okay. The values we have got in the table. The value of area under curve of A formulation is 89.5 and for B is 86.5, 86.1. Okay. So, after dividing 89.5 by 86.1, we will get the value of 1.04, and this is the value of relative bioavailability of the dosage form. Next we have to calculate the absolute bioavailability. Next parameter is the absolute bioavailability of the drug from the tablet. Okay. So, to calculate the absolute bioavailability, we are using this formula because we are having two different doses. So, we are using this formula. Okay. In case of oral, the AUC is 89.5 and dose is 200 mg. Okay. So, in case of IV, the AUC is 37.8 and dose is 50. So, after calculation we will got the value of absolute bioavailability as 0.592. Okay. So, I think the concept of absolute bioavailability and relative bioavailability have been cleared to all of you. Okay. So, this was all about the bioavailability, the terms that are related to bioavailability and the types of bioavailability. In the next class, I will be discuss about the measurement of bioavailability, what are the different methods to get the bioavailability, to conduct the bioavailability studies. Okay. Thank you.